physical. And the desert is a place where then you think of the nomads. And the nomads and their motion as a way of life.
So it's wandering life.
What?
Wandering from one place to place.
Right. But yes, the traveling not as the traveling itself, but moving from places, going to places, just as shaping places, giving their marks, they're marked by moving. And trying to leave this place more simultaneously. So, generation. Last sketch, the way I would like the town to develop would be on the border where the place is more next, just right next to the tide arrives, because it's the more not definite place, and somewhere it is. I think we could develop better. And to begin with, I started to think about a very geometrical, solid shape that would be the model for this place, the starting point that people are starting it. And so they'd be given a structure to live, and they would modify with during the time. Just by living in there and moving in there. And
so the houses would modify?
Yes, and the houses would modify, and the place would modify too. And the land itself should interact more with the houses. So this the way of life should, living life in the town more simultaneously, trying to bring surface and deep live it at the same time as possible. Actually, the tide is just a metaphor, as a geographical condition. Maybe think about something that will be always different, always.
Because it will be like a disparate virtue of being beside the sea, won't it? Things placed beside the sea tend to decay and change and twist just because of the...
Right. So, but slowly coming to the shape of this metal that would be much more abstract. It would just depend on the use of the people, and then start to interact with the land more, and start to make connection with the old place, and the old town should become more and more organic. So I started to wonder very undefined how lines could start shaping new patterns and new connections. And those connections, not predictable. So I find it very difficult to try to draw this, because since it's something that should be not post-present. And
visibly defined space.
Yeah, because with carving, by going through.
So why does it have to be in the end so organic, so formless? Why? You say it starts off as you've taken that for about 2 miles, of buildings which are basically a crust. And then eventually because of the wanderers become involved in that architecture, they change into this. and the sea and the landscape becomes involved.
Right. Well, yeah, try to.
Do you think that has to show itself in a form that's formless, that doesn't have any shape in the end? Do you think that's necessary?
I think the shape in the end will be will go back to a geometrical shape, but will be very simple, very stark. That shape will represent that infinite, I don't know,
But I think what would be actually what interesting eventually is that the people use these buildings and they don't really undergo too much physical change. That's the way in which they use them and the way in which they think about them and how, you know, that this step and this step would be the same, but they start to build up a memory of these, and it's the memories which really, do you know what I'm talking about? Because I think if you go into all this sort of sponge and it's, you know, it's a conversation that can only end with a different form, and it doesn't really end with a lot of the things that you were interested in at the beginning, which is to do with the people involved with the landscape and specifically grain.
I find dreadful inconsistency in your thinking. I mean, first of all, your analogy is with the desert, which is a whole different world to the origins of this island, in a sense. I mean, this is a specific place. It is specifically related to a history of Northern Europe and things like that, which is not basically in one's concept of the desert at all. And more than that, this place has specific associations.
Yeah.
And the weather isn't just a question of chance there. It has built up a pattern over the years, the way the rocks and the muds and everything has formed, and it reforms in those patterns over and over again. And if in a sense you are interested in the poetry of this particular place, which I imagine you are, the analogy with the desert has got no meaning at all. What you have, I mean, a deserted place, perhaps I'm
I was thinking
using
the wind, but
the word desert in the wrong sense, because I mean my association with the desert is certainly nothing to do with this place. It is a wild place, perhaps, if you like. But it is a wild place which actually has characteristics, it has a particular history, and it's the poetry of that, I think, that you should start with.
What suggestion of the desert was the way the desert,
And if you don't want to make it something fixed in it, fine. I mean, if you want your, so to speak, a sort of a parallel to your nomadic image, you can well say that, you know, it is the changing process, the pattern of change that you wish to commemorate in a way, in the way people live here, in the way that you want them to latch onto that. All that seems perfectly reasonable. But you must try and deal with the specific nature of this site, and it is that you must bring out, I think. And even then, when you talk about this changing process, you can't aim that that changing process is going to end up with one clear form.
right? Yeah,
Which is not your suggestion.
Actually, there was a
Even
scene.
whether it's this form or a perfect geometric form which you talk about seems to be meaningless, because that won't emerge from the pattern of living like that at all. It will be something far richer. It will be something. What?
He said it was going to.
There was just one stage.
Yes, but it's not. It's not. I mean, if you have a group of people or the elements or whatever working on something, they are turning it into a complex form on the whole, not into a coming towards a finite geometric form, which is what he's talking about. So it seems to me that, I mean, you can say I'm going to put a finite geometric form there as a contrast to all this swirling change around, but then that's a difference to what he's been explaining up to now. That's all. It's a question of the logic of his own pattern of thought that I'm worried about. Well, we've established there's no history, there are no memories, that's fine.
Fine.
And no desire for memory to start
Right.
existing.
But just,
You come with just what you've got in your own mind,
right.
what you've got on your camel. And there is a standard,
Right. Given.
there is a standard form there, and you begin to live and operate within this area, and then the mud and the sea and your life, the interaction between these people is going to transform this slowly.
Right. You try, yes. Try to.
And how positive is their aim going to be in transforming it? Are they just going to sort of put in a new pane of glass and a bay window or something and they feel like it?
No, try to.
Or is there going to be a collective thing, or is in fact, are you going to be operating as an overall designer, directing these processes?
No. That should just be.
I mean, in other words, how are you going to end up with that?
Right.
Or any notion of that single form?
The people there, like, living, moving.
You see, I can see what you're talking about here. I can see that. That seems to me a proper relationship between that and that. I can understand that. I can't see how that.
Well, that
Or what you talk about the geometric form.
Okay, this here will.
I know you can change that form into this, but I mean, what is your process? What is your living process? You don't want history to be done with.
Right. No memory.
Okay, fine. No, fine.
Okay.
That's right.
And then do you want memories to start to build up within? I mean, is some of the thing that you're talking about building up and changing, is it a physical change or is it a change in memory or whatever? Are you saying it starts from now and then history can build up? Or is history always be wiped out? Like shaving and washing and
right.
straight away. Which one is it? Yeah. Is it
Which-
that you leave all the dirt building up around you?
Inconsistency that's worrying us, you see. You're not clear, or at least it hasn't come across to me quite what you're aiming for and quite what your premise is going to be in each case.
Sorry, a very rude question, but why was it you did that? Because it was zoned in areas that you found...
The only thing that appealed to me was the unspecific about it, sort of the mystic or whatever qualities about it, not the idea of zone. It's not something that you could sort of build upon, but what's something you can go back into. Rather than do something positive, you can do something negative and sort of go backwards instead of forwards. So this is why one of the difficulties I had, and just sort of being positive about the whole thing. However, I have to say this, the actual map here. As I said, it's almost if I'd sort of have randomly thrown things on. I haven't got like a city plan or anything like that. I really don't want that. I like the idea of something evolving from what I'm suggesting here. After all, I mean, it can be worked on, still got to be worked on, is very much a plan and still open to change and additions and whatever. So it really is a matter of sort of like embryos, placing embryos in a fairly random way. And these embryos are really little buildings I've put. The idea is to get people to grain. Okay, but that's the first stop. Nothing can happen in grain until people come for some reason, whatever it is. I'm not sure what that reason is yet. I've suggested in a very sort of, I'm very dissatisfied with it, sort of cultural place, but it's a very corny idea, and I hope it changes, and I hope sort of interaction with other people on the unit can sort of help. Basically, theatre, hotel, maybe another hall or space to be used, and odd, small housing, very minimal housing from Port Victoria up to the land.
These are the houses.
Yeah, so it's very difficult. I mean, actual sort of representation of my idea is very difficult because it's just thrown on, and it's almost not meant to be seen. It's almost fading anyway, as if it hadn't been touched anyway. I don't like the idea of which is we would come for a weekend or a week to indulge in sort of, I don't know, festivals, or it's continuous. I don't know how it's going to work. Sort of continuous happening on grain.
So that's why you've got the theatre.
Yeah, and the whole idea of being isolated on grain, it's not sort of going through a day trip we can get back again. It's having to be there, because it's a wild, desolate country, and you have to really experience that and the only way to experience it is to stay there. And this is forcing the people to stay there. There will be a ferry or once every week or twice a week or so. And it will be booked. You'll need some sort of organisation, which hopefully will help use the town. There'll have to be like offices or whatever in the town itself, the village of Grain. So that's sort of another embryo.
So it would be another space for the village, but
yeah,
also be part of the
So
That's
it's,
the actual intention.
so it's basically like an arts festival.
Yeah, but I mean that idea of the actual arts is, as I say, is quite a one. I know is a good place any. But I'm not quite sure what it is. But let's, for practical purposes, I'm using that as an example. That's why I've suggested up there a theatre, but I haven't done it. I haven't actually drawn up plans or anything because I don't know the actual physical layout. It would fit in a mound. You saw on the map, there's a mound, and I hope it would fit. Getting back to the hotel, I like the idea of it's an impressive entrance. You come by ship, and I hope in the evening, perhaps the sun setting behind it, and it might be quite spectacular with the smoke all coming up over the.
There's a power station there.
The power station and the oil refinery, and so hopefully it will be. This will be sort of a real big scar and very ominous in a way. Not very welcoming, I don't think, because you don't know where to go. The mixture of space and lack of space. Like here, there's a lot of wasted space, and I want to sort of get this going so that the people actually live in these very small cell-like places. Whereas they can see this massive wasted space here. Also, the actual shape is sort of just from doodles. It's sort of more, I don't know, it's organic in that respect. It looks out. Each of these windows look out onto the landscape, as this is the water here. You've always been reminded of grain and looking out all the time. Underneath there is this I want the idea of this quite a lavish hall where the people will sort of collect for security in a way. The idea of them being sort of locked away in their little rooms is I think a stimulus of them getting out and doing something. There'll be sort of slight neurosis amongst them, I think. They'll want to get together, they'll feel... Sorry? Oh no, they won't be like prisons. They're small, and they are small, and there are long corridors, and it's not...
Hobbit style.
It's not. It's all concrete, and the long slitted windows you're looking out. It's not quite what they're used to. The whole, I don't know whether to refer it or not, but the whole idea about the aesthetic of grain is very much any remnants, any bits of architecture seem all to do with war. Something like that, or disregarded in a way, and you just can't ignore that fact. I don't think. But I didn't like the idea of actually drawing up plans because I quite like the idea of getting craftsmen, stonemasons, sort of, I don't know, put their own touch on and actually build like that sort of the medieval churches, Gothic cathedrals. They didn't really have many plans.
So
It's built bit by bit.
Would there be living accommodation on
This, for exactly the same idea as the hotel, but they'd be even more isolated. They wouldn't have this security that the hotel offers them. And these are the ones that are dotted along there.
Are there rooms connected to the tower?
No, just that one. It's called the Grain Tower.
But there are other sort of towers.
But
Thereabouts.
further on the land.
Further around.
Oh, around the corner. There's Dartmouth Fort, isn't it?
But the whole area is one of sort of naval warfare or something. Defence. Defence very much.
What do you see as being between these two? This one I understand quite well. That you come in on the boat.
Okay, once you come in on the boat, there's going to be some mark somewhere. You have to have something. You can't just sort of pretend it doesn't exist.
Okay.
So you've got something very solid.
Right, but then that works as a building where you enter, gather, and so on, and you see the refinery and the sunset and whatever. But I'm not too sure about these.
These are it's the same sort of thing, but these are just. If it's however it's done, if it's done through agencies or whatever, it'd be the same. They're treated as one.
Would we go to the hotel first?
Well, you have to. You have to walk straight in, and you don't know what to expect.
But then if you could be sent to
I could be sent to one of those. Quite. It's going to be like that.
Would you spend a night here and then perhaps go on to the next? applied for.
Would you get deposited in the middle?
Well, hopefully you'll be sent straight out to there. This is the whole idea. You come in, you don't really know where the entrance is, a very small, awkward entrance. And you have to go downstairs, and there's no real reception. It will be a very makeshift reception. So everyone will be sort of unnerved.
How many of these motel towns really are? I mean, have you got it? You're going to actually build more of them?
Well, these aren't, I don't know, these sort of small, these are accommodations, basic accommodation, and they're like this because it seems to work quite well. I mean, I didn't want to build something sort of...
The landscape's a little bit of wartime bunker and stuff.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is that this idea is very nice because you're arriving at a place which is not particularly friendly. I mean, it's like being out in the open sea, let's say, where it's very nice to be in a boat, where you've got a cruiser and a pool, and you're kind of outside and you swim, but you're not actually where the sea is deep. Whereas this is too much like a little villa.
Is it like Spanish villas on, Costa Brava, whatever?
Well,
the same idea.
But
Disgusting little things where they vary very slightly.
Why do you want? I mean, I don't think that they do relate to the hotel, because the hotel is a completely different place. Everybody arrives there, and you can look at people, and you can enjoy things.
But these people in the evenings, these people hopefully will collect at the hotel as well for the evenings, whatever. But they will have to make double effort because they're right in the middle of nowhere and.
Well, I feel that this respects the island. You can arrive here, bring your own lifestyle to the island, enjoy certain things, and also the island. Whereas in this one, you begin to actually use the island.
Yeah. But no, here, you don't stay there. I mean, this is just very basic.
Yeah.
They're only looking on the land. This is like a sort of fortress again. They're fortifying themselves against the land in one sense, because they're sort of enclosed from it, and yet they're looking out all the time, having to sort of, it's again another concept being pushed out and being looked after. No, but that's why he's coming, and he's going to sort of experience. This is the whole idea of he's coming to this place to sort of totally forget everything else that's happening in his normal routine of life. He's coming and he's in a different world, and for once he does have to sort of live with nature. In a way, you're being forced to sort of live with the elements. You have to walk this distance in this sort of unpleasant conditions, and these unpleasant conditions. And why not? I mean, I'm not trying to make anything easy for anyone. Because it is, as I say, you have got little dotted things along, and it's not easy to pick them up. So...
is this a proposal or a...
No, this is just a representation.
Yeah.
This is just...
But that's like sort of computer graphics, isn't it? How you show a large fat plane and
Yeah,
you're sitting into the distance.
It's like, I like the idea of sort of... playing about with the perspective planes and not quite knowing what I just did it sort of straight off, not quite knowing sort of, I don't liking it too.
Really, it's a strange
So that's an idiot. It looks a bit like massive
sort of
airport
clumsy.
runways.
The idea is sort of quite clumsy and not
And that is totally against what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Right.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that you've worked on this, because part of the reason for being there is that you've really made some stab into the landscape.
Yeah.
And you destroy it.
But it's purely a matter of technical representation. I've done paintings or whatever of land as sort of a rough landscape. I try to make an impressive sunset with impressive landscape, and then these buildings. But these buildings fade into nothing. You just can't
That's
show
what
it.
you want, isn't it?
No, exactly. I do want it, yes, but for actually sort of to showing it to a jury, they have to actually see the building. And say, yes, we can't really see this building. I mean, this is a matter of practice.
Well, we can see it in many ways, even less when you do it.
No, I think you can do it. I don't know, because I've tried it various ways, and this is the only way I can pick them out. I mean, sort of, it's a matter of technique, and I don't think the right time.
Well, it's very nice to see the plan in 3D, so at least it's not, you don't just...
It's important to see.
Also, understand why you would put a theatre there. But if you would put a theatre there to put a normal intellectual production, let's say London, New York type play, let's say, then it would be, I can possibly understand why you put it there.
No, I mean, I think...
So
it's not.
I think,
like that.
and when you say that the theatre might be like an amphitheatre, I mean the amphitheatres were to do with the landscape they were built in, so it seems that maybe it wouldn't make that much sense to put it in the mud, because you're not in the mountain and you're not talking about the Greek landscape or whatever it might be. So it seems really worthwhile to think about why these people would walk to these huts and what the kind of play would be about. And to bring the mud and all the things that you found out about the island into it. and the things to do with the intrusion of this petrol
And that's always
refinery
going
and
to
all
be
these.
almost like your backdrop for the amphitheatre. And you won't be able to
I
get
don't
away
think-
from that.
I don't think I quite understand what you're saying.
Well, if you look at what this theatre actually implies on that side,
Yeah.
rather than saying it's a theatre and then finding something to put inside that theatre. I mean, what do you want to represent on that side? What is the relationship between there and there?
Well, that's what, when I haven't, as yet I haven't decided what to put in the theatre, that's why I haven't wanted to build it. I don't want to sort of build it and then decide to put something in. I really want an idea which needs housing, as it were. And that's what I haven't got at the moment. So this is just...
Yes, but you can either sell an idea and then and invite people to the island, or you can sell the island so that people come to the island, i.e. do something which is to do with the place itself, where you're not trying to bring in a different culture, you're using what's there already.
But there's nothing, in a way, okay, I understand that, but I hope not to sort of bring in lots of new things, say, to this theatre, and ignore the island. It's nothing. It's not like that at all. It's making the most. I hope it's supposed to be totally the opposite. It's making the most.
But
of the island.
there's still, although I think these are really big steps forward, there's still a tremendous gap between the way in which you represent the ideas and also the ideas that are contained in let's say your sensitivity.
But I do sort of see this
I'm sure
set
it's
up
there in your head.
as a stab against all of this, as a de-zoning, as it were. It's all of this has been placed on the island. I mean, these people who live there have nothing to say. Half of them live there because of this. Okay, so it's denied a person.
There are places that when those, for example, when those occasionally go to very desolate places for certain reasons, and sometimes they're quite sort of, I think they want to go bird watching or skiing or whatever, and the thing produces lots of buildings and the setups, and it's a use of landscape, whether you're there to use some feature of the place you want.
It's a matter of trying to regain an identity, recreate the entire place, forgetting that this and this and this is there. And it is because it is.
You can't obliterate.
Sorry? You can't obliterate. But that's one thing, which is de-zoning and rezoning the place in their own terms or our own terms. You're forgetting that there's this massive power station. I like the idea this massive government power station and oil refinery, which has been placed there. These people don't benefit. Drain doesn't benefit by it because the power goes elsewhere.
We went to a pub one day and I was just having a drink and all the lights went out. and that's right next to this national power station, grid. And they get their power from the other side, from South End.
Really? Actually, in your mind, rather than, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but you're to actually clarify a bit what the intervention into this island is, because some things which, again, like this, which you've just made the statement and you've allowed people a point of entry, you've done something, it's there. But you talk about these other two things as something quite organic, like if it's a whole city is going to be...
How can this not be organic as well? I mean, you have to have...
No, hang on, but I actually mean that those depend on growth and a period of time where things happen and somebody likes to do this. Whereas, first of all, you talked about people coming for a weekend or 5 days.
That's how it has to start. I mean, you need people there.
Put embryos,
You have to have people. I mean, this is the whole idea. People just don't go there unless they're doing a project for the AA. This is the way to start people getting on. You have to do that. You have to make this mark. This is perhaps the intrusion and the essential intrusion. You have to do something. I mean,
you want to colonise this.
You're not colonising it. You're starting, as it were, from here. And we're in conjunction with the grain.
Without too much.
It's very narrow.
You could do with just a shift in perception that you could make that whole place into something very special. I mean, it's not saying that you have to concentrate totally on designing the architecture there, which would attract people. Because I think with the way in which you start to describe it and references to it in simple places, that this place could become amazing. I mean, even the way it is now could really start to work.